I feel very privileged and honored to be here because you guys are amazing worshiping God. And like that one song you guys had, that praise song, so because of His mercy and gave me attention, I feel that way. God has done some really amazing things in my life, and I want to share that with you guys today. Yeah, he's done some great things in my life, actually. And I guess you guys know a little bit about my story. I guess some of you guys might not. My name is Sid, and my father was a pastor for a time in Mississippi. And so this church actually has a kind of special place in my heart, because I know a lot of people here prayed for me during the times that I really needed those prayers. And my story, man, is to be honest with you, it's kind of hard to listen to. A lot of things in my story will deal with issues that are tragic and terrible things, evil stuff. But that's not what my story is all about. My story is about grace and forgiveness. It's about how awesome a God we have. So, it's also a story that I really hope that you guys will take to heart and gain something from it. My story really starts off kind of a lot like how you guys are. I grew up in the church. When I say I grew up in the church, my grandfather was actually the pastor of the local church. So I grew up and I used to run around the church, and as a little kid I knew the church up and down. That was my playground. I loved it. And so going to church was like a routine for me. It was a part of my growing up. And when I got older, into my teens, church was like, it was like an obligation. I had to go because that was what was expected of me, because my family was. But it was in those teen years, you're at that age when you're not a child anymore, but you're also kind of like not an adult yet. So it was during those times that I went through this phase. And I really wanted to be my own person. What I mean by that is I really wanted to form my own opinions about what I want in life, what I liked, my style, my fashion, my friends, my likes. I wanted to form my own identity. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all go through it. It's a natural part of growing up. But the thing with me was some of the stuff that I wanted, some of the stuff that I liked, I knew didn't sit right with what my parents wanted for me. I knew that there was a conflict there. And so I really felt that, I really felt restrained. I felt like I was being held back from making my own choices in life. And the more I started feeling that way, naturally the thing that I wanted the most back then was my freedom. I wanted freedom to make my own choices in life. I wanted freedom to be my own person, apart from the influence of my family. And the more I thought about my freedom, the more that became an obsession to me. I really started to obsess about having my freedom. I wanted to be free. And that obsession, when I started to think that way, I started to change. I became more of a selfish person. I was real selfish because everything now revolved around me and what I wanted in life. So I just really became a totally different person. And that was in my teens. And then, it was during that time I went to school. And as I went to school, I seen like these guys at school, and they stood out. You know, these were the homies. This was, you know, the big ballers, the players. And they had the nice clothes, they had, you know, nice things, they had the cars, the girls liked them. And I liked that. And, you know, I was attracted to them. The thing I liked most though was I seen them to have this carefree lifestyle. You know what I mean? They did whatever they wanted. And that was that freedom that I wanted. I wanted that. So I started to envy these guys. In my heart, I envied them. And that feeling of envy in turn led me to other feelings, man. And I started to resent my own family. Because they were holding me back from what I wanted. You know, I really started to, when I started going down that path, I started rebelling. You know, I started to talk back to my family disrespectfully. I stopped obeying certain things. And there came a point where I just stopped talking to them altogether. Because I felt, man, they didn't understand me. They didn't understand what I want. They couldn't relate. You know, they were from a different generation and even a different culture. So, you know, those things that I had, I kept them inside. I really bottled them up. And, you know, if you hold stuff in, sooner or later it's going to come out. And for me, they came out in extreme ways. You know, for me, I took off. I ran away from home. You know, I tried to leave my whole family behind, just forget it. You know, and I went out and I lived with my homeboys. You know, and lived with them for a time, and I joined the gang. And I became a gangster. And for a time, I lived that life that I wanted. You know, I had that freedom. I went out and partied, had fun, hung out with whoever I wanted to, whenever I wanted to. And, you know, I might have started out wanting my freedom to live that life I wanted, a life of fun and partying. But then I never saw how much drugs and alcohol were involved in that lifestyle. But I started doing it. You know, I never saw how, you know, I would become involved with that.